Ayan, okay, so again, good morning, and may I request as much as possible, let our camera open so that I can see you as well as you can see me. So let's start again checking your attendance. If you are here, let's test your microphone if it's working. So if you are here, just state O. Okay, is that clear? So let's have Felix.
Oh,
Okay. Isabel. Isabel.
Oh,
Okay. Elizabeth is absent. Let's have Kenneth.
oh,
Maurice.
oh, sir.
Okay. Lori.
oh,
Mark.
Oh,
Jadeline. Okay. So Jadeline is not around. I think hindi pa sila tapos sa klase nila. Ira.
oh,
Marinel.
oh,
Janelle.
oh.
Okay. So only Miss Elizabeth is not around. Do you have any idea or do you know what is her reason for not attending this morning? Anong friend ni Miss Elizabeth dito?
sir, dapat sa ID tatay, ID personal development.
Okay. Bakit wala siya? Okay. So to start our discussion, which is all about loan, that is a continuation of our lesson last meeting, which is on annuity. So before we proceed with the next lesson, I want someone to give a summary of our discussion last meeting. Just give a definition of annuity on your own words. How do we define annuity? Okay, anyone who wants to define annuity based on your understanding? Anyone who wants to volunteer? Wala? So, nalipatan nyo ang etiquette na sa annuity. Sige nga, Morris.
Series of equal periodic payments where the interest on each one is compounded, sir.
Okay, so you just have read the definition. So, tama, that is the definition of annuity. Again, when we say annuity, there is equal periodic payment. So, when we say periodic payment, that could be every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, and every year. But it does not, it's not limited there. There could be every week, ganun. And well, of course, the payment in each payment interval is equal or have equal amount. And the interest is compounded as well. So if the interest is not compounded, then it's not an example of annuity. Okay. Now let's proceed with the loan. So before we proceed with the loan, let's have first here an activity. Kindly wait for the whiteboard I'll be projecting. Okay. O dapat may makikita yung whiteboard or the Jamboard. Jamboard pala.
Adas.
Okay. So let's have here loan. Oh. Okay, so I want to collect your ideas. If you are going to hear the word loan, what comes into your mind? So I want to collect some ideas from you, that if you heard the word loan, what comes into your mind? Okay, so
Utang.
to volunteer, let's start with so sabi ni Miss Lori, utang. Okay. How about the others? How about Felix? Mr. Felix, what comes into your mind when you hear the word loan?
Same sir, utang.
Utang? Okay, how about Isabel? Any other word other than utang?
Sir, kajimot lang sila lending money.
Okay, lending money. Lending money. Okay. How about Lino or Kenneth? Yes, Mr. Kenneth.
Depression, sir.
Depression?
Ka-depress mo dito niya. Kade, joke lang.
Depression. Is that a joke?
Isumot lang, sir. Utang.
Utang.
Utang mo lang.
Okay.
Borrow.
Maris, how about
Borrow.
you?
Borrow.
Borrow. How about Lori?
Sir?
How about you?
Sir, sumagot na ako kanina.
Ayaw nga pala. Mark pala. Mark. Sorry.
Utang.
Utang, wala bang ibang word na naisip nyo? How about Ira?
Sir, interest.
Interest. Okay. How about Marinel?
Sir, same utang.
Utang. How about Janelle?
Sir, siya ka madagang mga interest.
Oh, meron na interest. Okay, interest. How about Janelle?
Sir, finance.
Finance. Okay. Okay, so let's check the words that you have given. Okay, so we have here loan. Tama, utang, that is the local term for loan, that is utang. And well, of course, for a loan, there is the process of lending money, or there is someone who lends the money to the borrower. Okay, so we have here borrow, so it involves also borrowing money. And well, of course, for a loan, if you are going to pay a loan, you need to pay with additional payment, and that is called interest. Okay? And sometimes for a loan to be paid or to be given to someone, you need someone to finance your loan, so that this lending individual or company will ensure that the borrower will pay back the loan. Because sometimes, yung tayong tinatawag na utang kalimutan. So, baka kayo yun. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's proceed with the process of loan. Okay, let me show my screen here. So loan is very much applicable at this time, especially if you have financial crisis. You tend to take a loan so that you can finance yourselves, and then of course you need to pay it back. And you can also use loan to start a business if you want to start a business. So as we have said earlier, a loan is utang in our local term, and utang need to be paid. So in loan, we have here two parties that are involved. We have here the borrower and the lender. A borrower could be, or a lender could be any individual, a group of people, a company, a corporation, or anyone who are involved themselves in loan. So in loan, we have here the debt, that is the amount of money that is being owed by the borrower towards the lender. And of course, this debt will be paid back by the borrower with additional payment, wherein this additional payment is called interest. And interest, computation of interest will depend always on the agreement of these two parties. Okay. So as we have said earlier, sometimes the borrower tend to they run from their debt. So for the lender, to ensure that this borrower will pay the debt, borrower will pay the debt, then they need to secure, or they need to ensure that this borrower will pay the debt by having a collateral property or a guarantor. So when we say a collateral property, this is a property of the borrower, wherein if the borrower is unable to pay the debt, then this lender will capture this property of the borrower. So example of properties are real estate. So when we say real estate, these are immovable properties. Okay. What are example of real estate? Can you give one? Yes, Janelle? Can you give one example of real estate property?
House and lot.
Okay, very good. House and lot. How about Marinel? Aside from house and lot, can you think of other real estate? Okay, so that is an example of real estate. You have the house or land or any buildings, as long as these properties are immovable or cannot be transferred. Apart from real estate, you can also have other properties like cars as a collateral. Okay, like for example, who wants to be a business owner someday? Sinong gusto maging businessman or businesswoman? Okay, Morris. So if you are going to be a businessman someday, what business you are going to establish? Ano yung ipapatayo mong business kung sakaling? Morris.
Motor shop.
Huh?
Motor shop.
A motor shop. Okay. Motor shop. Okay. So if you are going to start a business, well, of course, you need a capital to start your motor shop. So supposed to be Morris will start his motor shop. However, he don't have the capital to use. So he decided to take a loan with an amount of, let's say, 100,000 from Card Bank. And well, of course, before you can take the loan, you need to apply and submit some documents to the lending company. And this company will evaluate you if you are capable of taking the loan. So they are going to check your income, properties, like those ones, especially if you are going to borrow a very big or large amount of money. Okay. So supposed to be the application of Morris was granted. However, given in the agreement, Mr. Morris needs to give a collateral property to the lending company. That's how the Card Bank. So now, since the family of Morris has 1 hectare of land at their province, then Morris had given this as a collateral property, their 1 hectare land to the card bank. And now, after Morris have given or provided the collateral property, then the lending company or the card bank has approved already his loan. So now Mr. Morris can already start his business, which is the motor shop. However, okay, supposed to be that Mr. Morris will pay the 100,000 amount within 5 years every month, or that is monthly. Okay, so supposed to be the business of Morris gone bankrupt after 1 year. So na-bankrupt yung business niya. So ngayon, since na-bankrupt yung business niya, she needs an amount to pay his loan. For the first year, he was able to pay all the payments needed for every month. However, after 1 year, his business gone bankrupt. And the problem is, he doesn't have the money to continue to pay the debt or the loan. So now, the problem is, Mr. Morris didn't pay for about 3 months. Let's say for about 3 months for the loan. Now, the lender or the lending company has issued him a notice that whenever that he will not pay for the 4th month, then this lender will seize or capture the 1 hectare land that he collateral. Since Morris is afraid that the lending company will capture the property, he borrowed some money from his friends and relatives. So from that context, you can see that the loan is secured. Kasi nga, pag once na the borrower will not pay the loan, then there is the collateral, the presence of collateral that could be captured by the lender whenever this borrower will not pay the debt. So it secures the payment of the loan. That is the purpose of a collateral. Okay, so apart from collateral, we can also have here a third party, and we call that as a guarantor. So the guarantor will serve as the intermediary between the borrower and the lender. So what is the role of the guarantor? Okay, so the guarantor is a known person by the borrower. So whenever this borrower is unable as well to pay the debt, then the one to be responsible to pay the debt of this borrower is the guarantor. So a guarantor could be a financial establishment or any person known by the borrower. Okay, and well, of course, this guarantor will collateral his property. So that is the role of the guarantor, and this guarantor should pass the conditions given by the lender. So not only the borrower is being evaluated by the lender, but as well as the guarantor, if he is capable to be the guarantor of the borrower. One condition that is being checked by the lender is if he or she have a stable income, or she have the property to be taken as or to be provided as a collateral to the lender. But sometimes there is no collateral property or guarantor. It's just being a agreement between the borrower and the lender. Okay, so that is for loan. Okay, so do you have any clarifications or questions? Nakuha ba ang ibig sabihin ng collateral?
Yes, sir.
How about guarantor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I do hope that you understand what doing by collateral and guarantor. Okay, so before we proceed with the two types of loan, Let's have here again. I want to collect some ideas from you. If you are going to take a loan, where are you going to use this loan? Okay. Saan nyo gagamitin yung loan na kukunin ninyo? Let's start. Saan yung Jamboard? O yung whiteboard. Okay, so I want you to give your response, or I want to collect your responses. If you are given a loan, or if you are going to take a loan, where are you going to use this loan? Okay, anyone who wants to start? Sino gusto mong magsimula? Anyone? Okay, let's have Felix.
Sir?
If you're going to take a loan, where are you going to use this one?
Yes, sir.
If you are going to take a loan from a certain lending company, where are you going to take, or where are you going to use this loan?
Business, sir. Capital, sir.
What type of business? What business?
Restaurant, sir.
Restaurant. Okay. How about Isabel?
Personal, sir.
Specifically for
Gadget siguro, sir.
what gadget?
Laptop.
Okay, laptop. Okay, how about Kenneth? How about you, Mr. Kenneth? Saan na si Mr. Kenneth? Oh, Kenneth is absent. How about Maurice?
Sir, Anya?
You're going to take a loan, who are you going to use this one?
Ang common.
Hmm?
Ang common, sir.
Let's just assume that you're going to take a loan.
Kwa. Phone.
Cell phone. Okay, cell phone. Okay. How about Lottie?
Sir, pang house and lot.
House and lot. Okay. How about Mark?
For family, tapos business.
What is specific business?
Hardwares.
Hardware. Hardware shop. Okay. What is specific for family? Mr. Mark.
Sir, wait lang, sir. Sir, pakiulit.
So you have said that you're going to use it for your family. What specific domain of your family?
Sa mga kailangan.
Like,
Kailangan ng pag-aaral. Joy. Needs.
needs,
Like gamot. Joy.
medicine. Let's start on this one. Okay. How about Ira?
Sir, ano dati, emergency kasi. Yung
Right.
parang, yung mga family mo na naitakbo sa ospital, ganun sir, yung mga nagkasakit.
Okay, so for health. Okay, let's go to health. How about Marinel? Yes, Marinel? Have something ba
Sir.
to? Okay.
Sir, cafe.
Okay. Okay, let's have the last one, Jamil.
Sir, home remodeling.
Home remodeling. Okay, so let's just say this one. Okay, so before we're going to discuss those ideas we have here, let's get back to the types of loans. Okay, so basically, there are too many types of loans that is being given to people or provided by the lender, but we're just going to focus on the most common types of loans, which are business loan and consumer loan. Okay, so given on the keyword, we have here business loan. Therefore, it is used to start, either to start, to expand, or as long as this loan is being used for a business establishment or business for a business. However, for the consumer loan, from the word consumer, it is used for personal loan. So that is the common, most two types of loans that is being observed at present, that is being taken by the borrowers. So those are the two types of loans. Okay. Okay, so to give you an example of consumer loan, our example of this is if you are going to pay a cell phone unit for a installment payment. So that is an example of consumer loan because you're going to, so pag sinasabi natin installment payment, that is wherein the seller of the unit will, or the cell phone unit will pay the cash price of the cell phone. However, for you, they are going to pay it the cash price for you as the buyer. However, you're going to pay this cash for them at installment payment because you cannot pay the cell phone at cash price. And then you're going to pay this by installment payment will, of course, with additional payment called as the interest. So that is an example of consumer loan. One example of consumer loan is the use of credit card. Okay, so if you're going to go to some department stores wherein the owner the credit card, you can use your credit card to pay some of the items if you're going to buy these items at a certain store. But not all store will acknowledge the credit card. Okay. Okay, so let's get back dun sa ating, dun sa sinabi niyo kanina. Okay, so we have here the following wherein you're going to use your loan if you are going to take a loan. You have restaurant, laptop, cell phone, house and lot, hardware, medicine, health, cafe, and home remodeling. Okay, so let's categorize the following if this falls under business loan or consumer loan. Okay, so let's start with the restaurant. Is this a business loan or consumer loan?
Business loan.
Business loan. Okay, very good. Do you agree, Miss Lori?
Yes, sir. Ay,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is a business loan. How about laptop?
Consumer loan.
consumer loan.
Consumer loan. How about the others? Do you agree that it is under consumer loan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So sometimes laptop depends on where are you going to use this laptop. If this laptop will be used at the business, then it could be considered as business loan. But most of the time, since laptop is used for personal use, then it will be considered as consumer loan. But if it would be the property of a certain business, then we can categorize this as a business loan. Okay? As long as yung nakapangalan sa loan na yun is yung business mismo. Okay? Next, cell phone. Cell phone.
Consumer loan.
Consumer loan. Okay. Yes, it is consumer loan. But sometimes we can categorize this as business loan if the loan is taken by the business. How about house and lot?
Consumer loan.
Consumer loan. How about the others?
Agree.
Agree or agree? Are you sure that the house and lot is a consumer loan?
Sir,
I believe
business.
Okay, pwedeng business loan. Okay, so that is that will depends on the purpose. If you're going to buy a house and lot as a shelter, then it will be a consumer loan. However, if you're going to buy this as a rental property or it will be an asset, then it will be considered as a business loan. Okay, and hardware shop,
Business.
it is obviously a business loan. How about medicine? Yes, Mr. Mark. How about medicine?
Business.
Business loan. Are you sure? Are you sure that medicine is business loan? Do you agree, Miss Ira?
Sir, 50-50.
50-50. Okay, so if you're going to use the medicine for your healthcare, then it will be for consumer loan. Okay. However, if you're going to use this to sell at your sari-sari store, it could be a business loan. Okay. How about health? If you're going to take a loan so that you can take care of your health, will it be considered consumer or business?
Consumer.
Okay, so it is obviously a consumer loan. How about a cafe?
Business.
Business.
Okay, it is obviously a business loan. How about home remodeling?
Consumer.
Consumer.
Okay, so it is consumer loan. So that is home, therefore it is a consumer loan. So those are the two types of business loan that is usually observed in our present time. Okay. So I do hope you understand what do you mean by business loan versus consumer loan. Now let's get back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so we have here, so business loan could be, or business loan and consumer loan could be categorized as well. That will depends on the mode of payment. So we're going to observe the mode of payment. If the mode of payment is at equal periodic payment and there is equal amount of money that is being paid at the periodic payment, then it is called amortization. So for amortization, there is payment interval, and this payment interval are equal. And each payment interval, there is an equal amount that is being paid. Okay? Then we can categorize that consumer loan or business loan as amortization. So if you can observe, and if you're going to see it into context, the annuity will fall or will apply the amortization. Only if, as we have said earlier, pag annuity, it applies compound interest. Okay? So if the payment in each payment interval, or the interest on each payment interval is compounded, then it is an annuity that applies, or it is an amortization that applies annuity. But it is not necessary that the for amortization, it's not necessary that the interest per payment is compounded. Okay, so sometimes loans are not paid at equal periodic payment or at equal payment interval. It could be paid at one time, and it could not be. It could be paid at not equal. It could be periodic. However, it's not equal. It could be the first payment will be made at after 3 months, and then the next payment will be made at the after 6 months. Then it will not be, or it will not fall, or that loan will not fall under amortization. Okay, so that is amortization. And under amortization, we have here mortgage. The only difference of this in the common amortization is mortgage are secured loan, secured amortized loan. When we say secured, there is the presence of a guarantor and a collateral property. So pag walang collateral property dun sa loan or walang guarantor, then it is just called amortization. However, if there is a secured amortized loan, or there is a presence of a guarantor and collateral, then it is called mortgage. Okay, so that is the definition of these two terms. It is usually used in terms of loan. Nakuha ba ang ibig sabihin ng amortization and mortgage? Okay, Lori, what do you mean again by amortization?
Equal periodic payment.
So when we say equal periodic payment, what do we mean? What do you mean by equal periodic payment? Okay, so there is a payment interval, equal payment interval, and that payment interval could be every week, every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, or every year. And in that payment interval, there is equal payment or amount of money that is being paid as a payment for the loan. Okay, for under amortization, you can see here the application of annuity. So whenever the interest in each payment is compounded, then it is annuity. However, pag the interest is not compounded, then it is just an amortization. Okay. How about mortgage, Ms. Isabel?
Sir, it is paid equal interval and cash flow, pero kailangan magbigay ng collateral for exchange.
Okay. Very good. That is for mortgage. So mortgage is an amortization. And sabi ni Ms. Isabel, dapat meron siyang kapalit. Wherein it is a collateral property. But it's not necessary that there is a collateral property it could be the presence of a guarantor. Okay. That is amortization and mortgage. Now we're going to proceed to solving examples of loans, but we're just going to focus on amortization. And to continue our lesson on annuity, we're just going to focus on amortization that applies annuity. Okay, so we can narrow our discussion or our examples on loan, because loan is very broad. There are many types of loan. Okay, so the examples that we're going to have here are examples of amortized loan that is categorized as simple ordinary annuity. Okay, so ano ibig sabihin ulit ng ordinary annuity? What do you mean by ordinary annuity? Ms. Marinel. Ano ulit ang ibig sabihin ng ordinary annuity?
Sir, a series of equal payments made at the end of consecutive periods over a fixed length of time.
Okay, so very good. Or in short, the payment is made at the end of each payment interval. So for example, ang payment natin is every month, then the payment or the first payment will be made at the end of the first month. Same with the second month. For the second month, the payment will be made at the end of the second month. It is for ordinary annuity. How about simple annuity? Felix. How about simple annuity? Yes, Felix.
Ano ka mo, sir?
Ano mo?
Anak dilas nga. Sir,
Katno tayo dilas at what are you going to do? You're going to review, okay? Meron naman akong binigay na reading material. You can review that. And I sent a video dun sa ating group chat. Okay. So for simple annuity, that is, whenever this annuity have a payment interval that is equal to the interest period. So like for example, ang payment interval natin is every month. Therefore, yung compounding interest or interest period will be monthly also. So that is for simple annuity. Okay. So now we're going to try to solve the payment or the periodic payment. Wherein we're going to observe the formula. This is the formula for simple ordinary annuity. We're just going to focus on solving periodic payment or the payment per payment interval, wherein we're going to use this formula. And the symbol, again, don't forget that the symbol for periodic payment is capital letter R. And the value of A here is the present value of the loan. When you see present value of the loan, that is the amount of loan, or that is the amount that is borrowed. That is for capital letter A. And it follows I. Since we have pure ordinary annuity, then the value of I will just be R over M. And I think we know already how to solve for I, and same with N, how to solve for N. Okay, let's have here examples of amortized loan that is or that applies simple ordinary annuity. Okay, so these examples are, some of the examples we're going to have here are taken in our previous discussion. So we have here number 1. Who wants to read our number 1 example? Let's have Morris.
A 65,000 pesos loan at 12% compounded semi-annually is to be amortized every 6 months for 3 years. Find the semi-annual payment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can you give me one given? Miss Lori? Can you give me one given from this problem?
Yung interest rate niya is 12%.
Okay, so that is the interest rate. Or we are just going to call it as nominal rate. Okay, so the nominal rate is 12%. Give me another one, Mr. Mark. Yes, Mr. Mark.
Sir,
Okay, give me one given. Yes, Mr. Mark.
time 3 years.
Okay, time is 2 years. Okay, let's have Ira. Okay, can you give me one given?
Sir, 65,000 pesos loan payment.
Okay, loan payment, or that is the value of A, or the amount of loan. Okay, we have here the following given. The amount of loan is 65,000, and the value of I will be R over M. Okay, for in R, that is given to be, okay, so, as I have said earlier, R, or the rate of interest, is sometimes called the nominal rate, and that is 12%, or in decimal, that will be 0.12. Okay, and it says here that the interest is compounded semi-annually. Semi-annually, the value of M will be 2. Okay, so just divide the two values. 0.12 divided by 2 is equal to 0.06. Okay, so that is the value of I. And the length of time, as said by Mr. Mark, the term of annuity, since we are talking about annuity here, we're just going to refer T as the term of annuity instead of length of time. And that will be 3 years. And then just multiply it to the value of M. So 2 times 3 is simply 6. And now we are going to find the semi-annual payment by using the formula in solving the payment or periodic payment. That is, okay, so we have here the formula. So of course, you need to identify the correct formula for you to be able to solve the problem correctly. And after identifying the formula, you can just substitute to give it. So the value of A is 65,000 multiplied to our value of I, that is 0.06, all over 1 minus the quantity 1 plus. So just copy the constant number 1. Hindi dapat ay nagbabago. Plus the value of I again, that is 0.06 raised to -6. And you can just use scientific calculator to solve for this one. And that is, if we input that to calculator, that will be 65,000 multiplied to 0.06 all over 1 minus 1 plus 0.06 raised to -6, which is equals to 13,218.57. So we're just going to run our answers up to decimal places. Therefore, the semi-annual payment for this loan is 14,218.57. So you need to have your conclusion here that will answer the given example. Let's proceed with the second example. Okay, can you give me another can you give me one given from who wants to read it first? Let's have Ira. Pakibasa nga.
A loan that sums up to 12,000 pesos is to be charged by equal payments at the end of each year for 4 years. If the interest is based on 6% compounded annually, how much should be paid annually?
Okay. The question here is how much is to be paid annually, or that is the payment or the periodic payment. Okay. Can you give me one given, Mr. or Miss Marinel?
Sir, 6% of interest.
Okay. How do we define, or how do we term the 6%? That is what is 6%? Marinel.
Sir, yung
Yes? How do we term 6% here?
sir, yung R,
Okay, that is R or D, nominal rate. Okay. Okay, how about Janelle? Can you give me one given here?
Sir, 12,000 pesos is to be charged by equal payments.
Okay, what is 12,000? Okay, how do we term the 12,000? If it is the sum of the loan. Yes, Janelle, how do we term 12,000? Janelle.
Sir, wait lang.
Okay, so based on this problem, we're just going to analyze if what is being referred by to 12,000. So 12,000 here is the amount of loan. As it says here that a loan that sums up to 12,000. Therefore, that is the amount of loan or the amount of the annuity, or that is the value of A. Okay, so those are some of the givens. Okay, so we have here the following given. The letter A is 12,000. And of course, we need to solve for the I by determining the value of R and M. For N, R is 6% or 0.06. And it says here that the interest is, or the 6% is compounded annually. And whenever the given interest period is annually, then the value of N is 1. And just divide the two values, or that is the value of I is simply 0.06. Okay. And then for the N, the length of the term of annuity is given to be 4 years. Then we're just going to multiply 4 years by 1, that is the value of M, and then it will be equal to 4. And then we are going to solve for the annual payment, or that is the periodic payment at annually, or at every year. Okay, so just substitute the following given consulting formula, that is the value of A is 12,000 multiplied to the value of I, that is 0.06, all over 1 minus 1, or that is 1 minus 1 to the 1 plus 0.06 as the value of A raised to negative 4. And then just use calculator. So that will be 12,000 times 0.06 all over 1 minus 1 plus 0.06 raised to negative 4. Okay, so which is equals to 3,463.10. So meaning that will be the amount that is paid every year for 4 years para mabayaran yung loan na 12,000. Okay. And of course, we are going to obtain our conclusion. Hence, the annual payment is 1,463.10. Let's have the third example. Okay, pakibasa nga, Mr. Felix. Pakibasa yung pang-tatlong example.
Mr. Gogo borrows 15,000 pesos with the agreement that the money worth of 5% compound annually. The debt is to paid with interest by equal installment at the end of each years for 5 years. Find the annually payment. So,
Okay, thank you. Okay, so based on the problem, what is the amount of annuity or amount of the loan, Ms. Isabel?
Sir,
What is the amount of annuity or amount of the loan?
15,000.
Okay. How about the nominal rate? How about the nominal rate, Ms. Isabel?
5%.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, how about the payment interval? Kenneth, andito na ba si Kenneth or wala pa? Okay, wala pa. How about the payment interval, Mr. Morris?
Each year for 5 years.
Okay, so that will be each year or every year. And how about the interest period? Ano yung interest period natin? If the payment interval is every year, how about the interest period, Mr. Morris?
5 years.
5 years? How often is the interest 5% is compounded? That is, anong sabi dito? Hmm? Oh, Mr. Morris. Oh, yes, Miss Era.
Sir, 1, yung interest conversion period.
Okay, so that is 1 or that is annually. Okay, very good. Very good, Nurse. Okay, how about the term of annuity? Miss Lori. What is the
Sir?
term of annuity? What is the term of annuity? What is the term of annuity?
Five years?
Okay, so that is 5 years. Okay, so those are the given on this problem. Okay, then let's just state all the following given. We have here the amount of annuity is 15,000. And then the value of R, just divide R over N, that is 0.05 over 1, or that is simply 0.05. And then the value of N will be the length of time, which is given by Ms. Lori, that is 5 years, times the value of M, as said by Ms. Ira, that is equal to 1. And 5 times 1 is simply 5. So those are the following given. And then let's just solve for the annual payment, or that is the amount to be paid every year for the loan to be fully paid. Okay. We have here the formula and then just substitute it again. We have here the value of A, that is 15,000, times the value of I, that is 0.05, all over 1 minus the quantity 1 plus the value of I is 0.05 raised to the value of N, which is negative, or that is negative times the value of N, which is 5. Okay. Then just use the scientific calculator. So we have here 15,000 times 0.05 all over 1 minus the quantity 1 plus 0.05 raised to negative 5. And then the annual payment will be 3,464.62. Okay, so that will be the payment every year. For the 15,000 will be paid fully. Okay, so we have here the conclusion. Here's the annual payment will be 3,464.62 pesos. Okay, so that will be our third example. So let's have our last example. Pakibasa nga, Mr. Mark.
A newly married couple applied for a house and a lot loan worth 678,000 through Pag-ibig Fund. They paid a down payment of 54,000 with an agreement to pay the balance in 15 years at compounded quarterly, how much is the quarterly payment?
Okay, thank you. So that will be our last example. And I think na-meet na natin yung example na to last time. But we're just going to review it again. Okay. So can you give me one given, Ms. Ira?
Sir, 8% yung nominal rate.
Okay, so the nominal rate is 8%. How about Marinel?
Sir, 678,000 pesos.
Is the
Sir, loan.
or the amount of loan? Okay. How about Janelle?
Sir, 54,000 pesos
Is the
amount of the loan.
amount of the loan is 678,000. How about 54,000?
Sir, down payment.
Okay, so that is the down payment. Okay. Felix, how about 15 years? How do we term 15 years?
Time, sir?
Time, or what is the proper way to term this time? It is, aside from saying that it is just time, we're going to specify what time.
Annuity, sir.
Okay, so that is time of, length of, or term of annuity. So that would be our term of annuity. So it's not just time or length of time. Since we have an annuity problem, then that will be the term of annuity. Okay, so those are the following given. Okay, so the problem here is how much is the quarterly payment. Okay, so we cannot directly solve the quarterly payment by not solving the amount of annuity. Okay, so given the amount of loan, or the total cost of loan is 678,000, we need to determine the amount of annuity that will be paid every 3 months for 15 years. Okay, so that is the quarterly payment. So you're just going to subtract the amount of loan by the down payment. That will be 678,000 minus 54,000 is simply 624,000. And by solving the value of I, that will be the nominal rate all over the value of M. So it says here that the interest period is compounded quarterly. Therefore, the value of M will be 4. Okay. Will be 4. And then 0.08 divided 4 is simply 0.02. And then the value of N will be M times T. And the term of annuity is 15 years times the value of M will be 60. And then we can now finally solve for the quarterly payment. Okay, so that will be, just substitute again the following given. We have here the value of A 624,000 times the value of I will be 0.02 all over 1 minus the quantity 1 plus 0.02 raised to negative 60. And then we are just going to use here calculator for us to be able to solve it easier or faster. Okay, so that will be 624,000 times 0.02 all over 1 minus 1 plus 0.02 raised to negative 60. Okay, so that will be our quarterly payment. That will be 17,951.21. So that will be the amount to be paid every 3 months for 15 years para mabayaran yung house and lot. And then of course, we're going to have here our conclusion. Okay, so thus the quarterly payment is 17,951.21. Okay, so that will be our last example for the amortized loan, examples of amortized loan. Okay, so before we end this example, do you have any clarifications or questions regarding amortized loan or loan itself?
None,
Sir,
sir.
ano pa?
Yes,
Number 3,
Felix?
chat ko.
Okay, number 3. How about the others? Do you have clarifications or questions?
None,
None,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So, pag wala, I do hope na naintindihan niyo yung amortized loan for some of these examples. Okay. So, I think you're aware of your scores dun sa previous 2 activities natin. When some of you got a low score. Kasi yung scores ninyo is based on din sa criteria na binigay ko. So, aware naman kayo dun sa criteria wherein you're going to base your scores. Wherein your solutions will be from our problem solving, your solutions will be evaluated according to the given that you're going to identify. The one that is 3 points, or that is 30% of 10 points. And your solution will be 60%, or that is 6 points of the 10 points, or that are the total points. And of course, you're going to have your conclusion. So for conclusion, that will be only 1 point. So that is how we're going to grade your activities. Dun sa previous activities niyo na dalawa, that is how it's being graded. So for example, you identify all the given, and as well, you should identify the unknown. And if you identify all the given plus the unknown, then you are going to be given 3 points. And of course, if you solve as well correctly, then you will be given 6 points. So pag mali na yung pag-solve niyo, then it will be you're given 4 points or 2 points. And of course, you're just going to have the percentage. So hindi directly na may bibigay yung 4 points sa inyo, that you're going to get the. So pag sa solving yan, dito sa ating solution, we're just going to get the 60% of 4 points. Okay? And you need to have your conclusion. So some of you don't have the conclusion, and that is 1 point. So whenever that your solution is wrong, or the given you have is wrong, it follows that your solution will be wrong, and same with the conclusion. So it is very important that you're going to identify the given correctly, same with the unknown. Okay, so that is how we're going to grade your problem solving. Okay, so if you don't have any clarifications or questions, I'll be giving the activity later on. And that will be again due by, yes, Isabel?
Sir, mabalin nga maala day recorded one, sir. Dete.
Sige.
Thank you.
Kisend ko damdama jay, i-upload ko jay YouTube tayo. It will be unlisted. Ibig sabihin, pag unlisted yung video natin sa YouTube, only the person who got the link will or can view the video. So doon ko na lang i-upload and i-send ko sa iyo yung link. Okay? Okay. So yung activity natin na ibibigay ko mamaya is due on Friday until 12 or 11:59 p.m. So that will be around 12 midnight. So you can have much time to answer. So that will be again 20 points. So hopefully you're going to improve your scores kasi dun sa previous 2 activities medyo mababa yung scores ng iba compared sa other or sa mga classmates na matatas yung scores. So by the way lang naka-perfect, but the highest score I consider is 19.8, which is Miss Isabel. Okay. So nasend ko na sa inyo yung scores as well as the scores per item. So pakicheck na lang yung Gmail ninyo, yung Gmail. So every now and then pakicheck yung Gmail ninyo para aware kayo sa inyong mga scores. Okay? So thank you so much for participating in this lesson. Okay, so you can now yield.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye.